Hi everyone, welcome to the Tasmanian Timber webinar series. We'll get started here in a minute. Everyone will be placed on mute and all of the video will be turned off. If you would like to leave a question or just say hello, there is a chat box over to the right of your screen. If you just want to send us a little message letting us know that you're here, that would be great. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining the webinar series today on engineered flooring. For today's presentation, we have Tasmanian timber expert Mike Lee. He is from the Center for Sustainable Architecture with Wood at the University of Tasmania. And we also have a very special guest with us as well, Simon Tudden, and he is the product manager at Woodsmith. So we'll go ahead and get started with Michael Lee.
G'day guys, it's just nice to see a few people online, and and to welcome Simon along as well. Simon has much more expertise in this area than I do, so I'm just going to run through the first piece, and then I'll hand over to him. I'll tell you a bit more about Simon's been with most of the large companies producing these types of flooring over the last couple of decades. So as I say, any questions, please pop them up to him. His expertise is much more than mine, and if I've got a problem, I normally would talk to Simon about it. Okay, so what are we looking at today? Just simply, what is engineered flooring? What is solid and overlay flooring, and what's the difference? Engineered versus solid, and not from any particular standpoint, just a few laying guides, tips and tricks. And we'll just reiterate the Tassie grades again, then I'll hand over to Simon, who'll have much more information, as I say, than I do. Right, engineered flooring. Engineered timber floor is a multi-layered floor composed of timber veneer or laminate sitting on a substrate of which there are many types. Now, we see everything from heaver to plies to different types of timbers underneath. Structural stability in these products is quite good because of the cross-laying, and it does give an opportunity sustainability-wise to extend the timber that we do have. So as a sustainable outcome, it's really good. You can use a lower class of timber underneath in some cases. I know the Woodsmith, for instance, has, their backing is as good as their forward, but of a different type of material, which Simon will expand on. The things to look at in these engineered floorings is whether you want it as a fashion statement or whether you want it as a longer term piece of material. The top surface, wear surface, is a thing to take into account. I have seen them as low as 1 millimetre. It's not very common. 2 to 3 mils is a normal lamella, but some of them up as thick as 4 and 5 mils, so you can get multiple sands out of them. These thinner lamellas make it easier to condition the wood and reducing potential for expansion and contraction. They normally come pre-finished, which negates the requirement for sanding or polishing after installation and makes it go down fairly quickly. So there are definite time advantages for this type of product. Solid overlay is typically what it is. Solid overlay. It's an unfinished profile board opposed to a pre-finished board that a floor layer or installed by the appropriate means, but it also means that the floor needs to be sanded and coated. It's a different look, slightly different look and feel to it. And as I say, when laid correctly, it looks amazing. It ages really well, it patinas really well, can be re-sanded and polished on numerous times, which make it a really great long-term option, but available to fit, over a concrete or a subfloor of any style. Okay, engineered versus solid. The engineered pros and cons, of course, ease of installation. Some of the materials you'll see, and I know Simon's is a direct stick product, but some of them are click and clack that actually out of Tassie that actually will lay over a loose fitting, and I know we'll talk about that a little bit more. Simon has some information on acoustics, on glues and that, which it's really interesting, so you can make these things sound or not. Oh, sorry, John. I'll just try and rectify that a little bit. They're DIY friendly, pre-finished, limited sanding options, but this varies. Time advantages, different types of coatings, which sometimes can be sanded and sometimes they can't. They'll definitely be in shorter lengths, so installation in multi-storey buildings and that is easier. And they do tend to sound deaden a little bit depending on the material used for the bottom layer. The solid pros and cons are the quality for the life of the floor, timeless appearance, variety of timbers, never needs to replace if maintained correctly, multiple resandings. There's a perceived value proposition for resale of the house or office, but it needs to be laid and finished by a suitable tradesperson, which comes with extra time in laying and coating. And solids over 19 mil do form a structural platform. We have multiple laying guides on both the Centre for Sustainable Architecture in Wood and the Tas Timber site. So please jump on. Morgan will, there we go, pop up some information on that. So there are full laying guides for both solid timber overlays and engineered flooring on both sites. We also look at things like flooring options and that in the Tas Timber site, so you can get, actually have a look at what's available out of Tasmania, what size ranges are available, and they're virtually from 85 mil up to the Woodsmith, which is, I'm not quite sure, it's quite a wide board. So again, Simon will fill you in on those when he jumps on. Okay. Just some quick tips, and I know these will be gone over again, but the real key elements that we see problems with: use only specialist elastomeric glues. Do not use hard setting glues. Flooring glues need to allow for movement in the timber. Companies that make them include Bostik, Toby, Fuller's, Ramset. There's a big range of them. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations exactly. And also use compatible levelling, sealing and gluing products. Manufacturers develop products to work as a system, so mixing brands can cause, and we do see problems. So please take note of those. The other thing is the Tas timber grades. What are the grades? And grades are there just to group timber characteristics, allow customers to specify a product, and allows people to look at design trends. A grade does not define product quality, or, it has an inference on fit for purpose. Again, we do it to allow specification, to guarantee a product range and to guarantee consistency and to comply with legal and regulatory requirements if they apply. Legal implications: overlaying engineered flooring or appearance product, and that must be taken into account and restricted under the Australian standard. Flooring is deemed as structural, so must comply with the building codes. But regardless of flooring type, all supplied material must be fit for purpose. And that's fairly crucial. The fit for purpose rules that are applying the standard come in and are covered off. There's two grades out of the Tasmanian market, prime and classic grade. The prime grade, designed for the buyer, requires a warmth of timber with a more traditional, minimal characteristic. It's still going to have variegated cover and just have that biophilic look to it, but it is by and large a more consistent product, and the grading rules and that are on the side. And classic grade, if you're after the real look of timber, lots of natural characteristics, a real contemporary look. The natural characteristics combined with the fluctuations in natural grain structures lead to this truly unique product. No two pieces are the same. The one thing I will say from both Simon's company and any of the other companies, that the product out of the Tasmanian market is exactly the same on each of these products. So they're both audited, they both come through a system. So the quality you're getting, the only difference is the character that's held within the timber. There's also, as Morgan's just popped up, there's Classic and Prime are already on our website. So please, if you want to know some more about that, jump on and have a look. Okay, at this time, I'd like to hand over to Simon. And as I say, Simon's got more experience than I'd say 95% of the timber industry as it's held at the moment, because he's worked through Tellings and Neville Smiths and has championed this product into the marketplace, both in solid and engineered. So please bring forward your questions to him. Thanks, Simon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mick, and thanks to Tasmanian Timber for inviting me along for this today. It's good to get a chance to come on and talk about our product, and hopefully gives people some information generally about engineered flooring. Engineered flooring is at a point now where there's been a real evolution of it. It's at a point now where there are quite a lot of good products out there. And as Michael said, from a point of view of the resource and extending the resource we've got available to us, it's certainly our responsibility to use that resource well, and engineered flooring fits into that premise beautifully. You think about a floor, a beautiful floor that you walk on, you really only see the top of it, you don't see the rest of the board. So it stands to reason that if you're going to do the right thing by the resource, let's only see what we walk on, within reason, of course. Our Woodsmith product has a lamella. You heard Michael talk about the lamella earlier on. Some people just refer to the lamella as the wear layer. Essentially, that's what it is. The lamella is the wear layer. Ours is 3.2 millimetres thick. So with 3.2 millimetres of wear layer or lamella, once the floor is down, you can really treat that floor like any other floor, whether it be a solid or engineered floor. Most importantly also is the type of substrate that the lamella goes onto. Throughout the evolution of engineered flooring, many of the early ones were ply, and there continues to be quite a few products out there using a ply substrate. In the early days of engineered flooring, quite often that ply wasn't cross-laminated, and some other dubious ply substrates did have trouble with stability. With the Woodsmith product, our substrate is a segmented cross-laminated substrate. There are many others out in the market that have a segmented cross-laminated substrate, and they have been proven to be the most stable form of engineered flooring that you can currently get. Our substrate, as Michael mentioned before, is a product called Hevia, also known sometimes as rubber wood, with 3.2 millimetres of Tasmanian oak on top. In the early days and throughout the evolution, once again, of engineered flooring, people used to think that the wider the board, the more luxurious or premium the product. In engineered terms, our board is 165 millimetres wide. Many of the other brands of product that are on the market, including other Australian species, are around about the 134 millimetres in width. So with ours being 165, it makes it a fairly generous width board. There are wider ones up to 190 and sometimes beyond, but certainly at 165, you're getting a generous looking board that it fits nicely into large open spaces that are designed into homes these days, but it's not a huge wide board that would look too big for smaller rooms. So we're quite happy with 165 millimetre wide board. The overall thickness of the board is 14.2 millimetres thick, and as I said, with 3.2 millimetres of wear layer or lamella, it's giving you plenty of options with future maintenance and any possible sanding. With 3.2 millimetres, you could see at least 2 or 3 sands out of the life of that board. And many people ask me about the life and the wear of a floor. And quite simply, you think about it like you would any other timber floor. How much traffic are you going to see on the floor? How well does the homeowner or the user look after their floor? Things like pets and making sure you wipe your feet, grit on the floor, putting soft rubber or protection underneath furniture. All of those sorts of things go into prolonging the life of the floor. With our range, our overall range of our products, the idea of having an engineered board came into our thinking fairly early on as we were expanding our whole range of all of our Tasmanian Oak products at Neville Smith Forest Products. Engineered flooring was one of the early ones that we wanted to have to complete our suite of products. So we have 6 colours, although one of them is not a colour, it's simply a clear finish. And we've gone ahead and we've named all of those different versions of Woodsmith after Tasmanian locations, or certainly Tasmanian-centric iconic things. From Huon Trail to Tamar Mist and Fraser Morning, and the others that you'll be able to see when you look into it. They're all iconic Tasmanian names. There they are on that slide. Thank you very much. Huon Trail, Cradle Sky, Tamar Mist, Derwent Breeze, Shannon Rise, and Fraser Morning, all the way through the colour palette. And when we were thinking what colours to introduce, we only wanted to have 6, so it wasn't too big a range, but we got together a group of designers and architects and people that we trusted, and we formed a committee of people that were in their field of design and came up with these. And early on, when we introduced the range, we got a lot of very good feedback saying that we were spot on with the range of colours that we introduced. We wanted to make sure that our Woodsmith range was, it certainly wasn't a budget product, because at the time, and certainly there continues to be a few nasty, cheaper options out there in the world of engineered flooring. But we wanted something that was a quality product that sat in the middle of what was available. So some of the other important things, most important, is the quality of the coating, which I'll speak about in a minute, but also the length of the board. Our boards are 2130 millimetres long, and in the world of engineered products, that's considered quite a long board. There are cheaper alternatives where you quite often see boards can be 1800 or 1900 long, but at 2130, this is a fairly generous length board, which when the floor is complete, it gives you a good, long, decent looking, fairly generous look to the finished floor, which we thought was very important. Most importantly, and certainly for me, was the quality of the coating. We wanted something that users and installers and everybody had some confidence in. So when we could go with the Bonner coating, we were very pleased with that. Bonner is widely used right around Australia and through Europe and America, originally from Sweden. They're one of the top coating companies in the world. Any decent floor sander and finisher that you speak with will certainly know the Bonner products. And traditionally, floors, whether they were pre-finished or solids, people would quite often flood coat them, and you hear people talking about film build, where you look at the finished floor and you can almost see your face in it, and it was like a full thickness laminate over the top. But that's not what people want these days. They want their floor to be a real timber looking item. They want to see the grain and feel the grain through the coating, and not look like a plastic coated, almost a protected cricket bat type coating. So with the Bonner coating, and there are other good coatings around as well, not just the Bonner, but we went for the Bonner because we believe that's the best. You can feel the grain of the timber. It's got a lovely natural feel and appearance to it. It's a water-based polyurethane coating. The coating on our product is factory applied, obviously. There's four coatings of Bonner and 1 undercoat as well. So you really are getting a premium product that is well coated and will last you as well as any domestic or manually coated product as well. The colours, as I said, you know, they're very natural looking colours. The hue and trail is a clear, and it gives you a lovely natural look to it. The product comes in a 6-board bundle, and each bundle covers 2.109 square metres. When it comes to the care and the maintenance of a floor, it's important that the homeowner does take some responsibility for it. Although, having said that, there was a misconception among users out there that once you have an engineered floor, it's bulletproof, and it can do some things that people expected it to do that, you know, are outside what you would expect. But you really are treating an engineered floor like any other timber floor. You can recoat it, you can resand it in most cases, not all, but in most cases you can resand it. But you have to treat it like a normal floor. The care is important, you know, whether it be protection on the bottom of your furniture or making sure that you're looking after the floor in regards to pets and just general traffic. Floor coverings such as rugs in high traffic areas are all important, but they're important, you know, no matter what type of timber floor it is. It's you know, it's the responsibility of the homeowner, no matter what the type of timber floor is, to protect it. In our profile of our product, we decided to go for a tongue and groove product. Out there in the world of engineered flooring, there are a lot of products that have like a clip lock type of joint that Michael referred to early on. We wanted to make sure that this was a premium product and that could be laid by proper tradespeople and not so much of a DIY product. So that's why we went for the traditional tongue and groove joint and not the clip lock. The clip lock is more known as a floating floor, but with ours it's direct stick. That's the only way you can install ours. I do get asked quite often if the floor can float, but no, that's not the case. This is a floor for life. This is a floor that's going to last you for a long time, like a traditional timber floor. So it's very important, and in our installation instructions, it talks a lot about the quality of the adhesive that should be used. Earlier on, Michael spoke about the different brands, and he's correct. There are a lot of good brands out there. There are some brands that even include an acoustic crumble that is inside the adhesive. It's simply a foam crumble that improves the acoustic dampening, particularly useful on multi-residential applications where you're trying to deaden the sound between the floors. I know Bostik Single Step 2 is a good product, but there are others, Sudal, and others as well. All make very good adhesives that can be used. But it's important, it's imperative that the installer follows those instructions to the letter and doesn't take any shortcuts. You don't want hollow areas in your floor that can come about if the adhesive isn't troweled out correctly. The adhesive needs to create a cushion effect between the subfloor, whether that be yellow tongue, concrete, or ply or whatever, and between the woodsmith or the engineered product. There must be a good bed of adhesive for that product to sit on. It's important so that you don't get hollowing or bouncing of any sort, and that you get good adhesion between the product and the subfloor. Okay, there's a question there regarding the anchor rating. It is the same as Tasmanian Oak. We have had testing on this, and I always point out with Tasmanian Oak, regardless of whether it's an engineered board or whatever, that Tasmanian Oak, as you may know, is a combination of 3 species. Therefore, the anchor rating can move around quite a lot. It's also a quarter sawn product, so the anchor rating is it's published quite often at 5.7, 5.9, but I have seen boards that go up into the 6s. But you know, that's an average. Due to the 3 species, it can move around a little bit. Thank you, Mick, for some more information back to John on that. As we did, yes, there was testing done at UTAS, and we did get higher ratings on it. Woodsmith and other engineered flooring, just talking about the use of engineered floor in wet areas. It can't be used in wet areas, but you use a very similar logic to any other timber floor. I mean, I'd be more than happy to put Woodsmith into a kitchen. It has been and it has been used successfully in laundries. But look, you've got to realise that with an engineered floor going into a wet area, at the very worst, a laundry, in the event of a flood event, if your washing machine overflows or you have a flood event in there, it will behave not favourably, and that's regardless of the quality of the engineered floor. It is hard to repair an engineered floor after a flood event in a wet area. I wouldn't recommend it in a laundry or any other wet areas such as bathrooms, but happy to have it used in a kitchen, but remembering that in the event of a dishwasher flood or any other flood, you are going to have issues and you will need to replace. What else can we speak about? Can be laid over concrete, no problems whatsoever. In the early days of engineered flooring, a lot of people wanted or insisted that a subfloor of ply was put over the concrete prior to any engineered floor going over the top. Some people still like to do that, and it's more of an insurance policy than anything else. But these days, with the adhesives that are on the market, the adhesives are guaranteeing that the adhesive, if used correctly and troweled out correctly, is producing and providing that waterproof membrane between the concrete slab and the engineered floor. So really the need for the plywood before the engineered floor goes over the top is really not required anymore. However, as I said, some people do like to still do it, but it's more of an insurance policy than anything else. But as people are trying to keep costs under control, using a quality adhesive over a concrete slab, then with your engineered floor on top is fine. It's important that the tradesperson that is doing that is a good quality person and follows and has some experience and follows the directions of the adhesive company very, very closely. Okay. Some of the projects that we've done, look, we've done some lovely projects. You can see the Lakeside Drive, Old Forest Vale. Macquarie House was a particularly impressive project we did. And also I'd like to point out that it can be used successfully on walls. You can see the underside of that staircase in the Macquarie House installation there, but I've seen it used on walls in rooms, and it looks fantastic, really does. It gives a stunning feature wall. You have the floor in Woodsmith, and you might change the tone and use it on a wall as well, and it gives stunning results. John has asked about floor heating systems. This is very risky, and we don't recommend it. Most engineered floor companies steer away from it. It can be done, but you are really taking a risk, and manufacturers don't warranty against it. Particularly some of the electric systems, that can be a concern when the heating system creates hot spots, or if it's not controlled consistently, you can end up with hot spots that can play havoc with engineered floors. If it's a hydronic system, you can have more success or some success, but I would still be very careful. As Michael's saying there, it's a very open question, and you would want to get some expert advice on it when you're installing your underfloor heating, but also with the floor installer working in conjunction. You may come up with a good result that will work, but I'd be very, very careful. You can see there, that's the Fraser name awning on that last slide there. That's the grey coloured one. You can see the tones that goes with. And I've seen a home where that's been used, and it's a stunning looking floor. Some of the other care points, making sure that the care on an engineered floor, whether it be Woodsmith or any of the other products that are out there, is you can never wet mop a floor with the Bonner system that we use. Bonner provide a large range of readily available products and accessories that can be used for the care of the floor. And they're all readily available from many outlets. You look them up and you'll find them quite easily. From mops and floor care, different floor care products, they're out there everywhere. I think that's about all. If there's any other questions from anybody else there, if not, I might hand back to Michael, see if there's any other questions.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I'll open it up to everybody else. If anyone has any questions, please use the chat box to the right of the screen. Thank you.
Yeah. Trevor, I think this is a perennial problem with any type of flooring. I'm sure with the Bonner coatings and that, specifically talking about Woodsmith, that this won't be an issue over time as colour matching, and that is, from the product I've seen over the last couple of years, is fairly consistent. But it's always going to be, worn, and especially UV degradation is always going to be a problem to match. But that's inherent with any floor.
I will say with the Bonner coating, sorry, Michael.
You're right, Simon. Yep.
With the Bonner coating, the colour matching from batch to batch is first rate. But with this new generation of coatings, including the Bonner, the UV is greatly improved over the older coatings. John, the Woodsmith is available from Bunnings and Clennett's, primarily Clennett's in the Hobart area, mate.
I think it'd be worthwhile looking at this the Woodsmith stuff to jump onto the We Are Woodsmith and have a look, because there's some really inspirational shots and that on there. So yeah, please avail yourself, and there's some great shots on the Tas Timber side as well. And it really shows it off on the in situ in the wearewoodsmith.com.au. Okay, the other thing is Tas Timber site, anything on Tasmanian Timber or anything allied to it, expert hotline, please jump onto the website, have a look at a lot of the inspirational stuff and the information that's there. Morgan's just putting up our contact our expert helpline, so the 1300 number, and if the person answering the phone will soon find it for you. All right, if no one's got any other questions, I'll hand back to Morgan, but I'd really like to thank Simon for jumping on today. And, as I say, please don't hesitate to get in touch with these guys, because they do have that depth of expertise in this.
To Michael, and thank you, Simon. We'll go ahead and wrap things up. As Mick mentioned, we do have that expert helpline and our website as well. So any questions after this, please feel free to reach out through the expert helpline or on the website. Other than that, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.